हरिः ओम् जीमूतश्यामधामा मणिमयविलसत् कुण्डलोल्लासिवक्त्रम् हस्ताभ्यां दक्षमालोत्पलमितरभुजं वामजानूपरिस्थं बिभ्रत् पद्मासनस्थः परिकलिततनुर्योगपट्टेन जुष्टः श्रीपूर्णा पुष्कराभ्यां पुरहरमुरजित्पुत्रकः पातु शास्ता तेजोमण्डलमध्यगं त्रिनयनं दिव्याम्बरालङ्कृतं देवं पुष्पसरेक्षुचापविलसद्माणिक्यपात्राभयं बिभ्राणं करपङ्कजैः मदगजस्कन्धादिरूढं विभुं शास्तारं शरणं नमामि सततं त्रैलोक्यसम्मोहनम् सुश्याम कोमलविशालतनुं विचित्रं वासोऽवसानमरुणोत्पलदामहस्तम् उत्तुङ्गरत्नमकुटं कुटिलाग्रकेशं शास्तारमिष्टवरदं शरणं प्रपद्ये ध्यायेदुमापदि रमापति भाग्यपुत्रं वेत्रोज्ज्वलत्करतलं भसिताभरामं विश्वैकवश्यवपुषं मृगया विनोदं वाञ्छानुरूपफलतं वरभूतनाथं शास्तेति केचित् कतिचित् कुमारः स्वामीति मातेति पितेति भक्त्या यं प्रार्थयन्ते जगदीशितारं स एक एव प्रभुरद्वितीयः तमालश्यामलं भद्रं पिङ्गलाकल्पसुन्दरम् अदिज्यकार्मुकं वन्दे सत्यम् अव्यक्तयौवनम् त्र्यम्बकपुराधीशं गणाधिपसमन्वितं गजारूढमहं वन्दे शास्तारं कुलदैवतं शास्तारं कुलदैवतं शास्तारं कुलदैवतं कनिमूलमहागणपतिस्वामिये माळिगपुरत्तम्म देवी लोकमातावे शरणमय्यप्प सद्गुरुनाथने शरणमय्यप्प एंगल कुल देवमे शरणमय्यप्प स्वामिये शरणमय्यप्प. So by the grace of Sadgurunathan, Anandachittan Ayyan Ayyappan, we have gathered here today for a satsangam. Sangam means an association. So association with Sat is satsangam. And what is Sat? Sat is Paramatma. Sat is Bhagavan. And in this world, his glory is to be understood through the association of sadhus or Sat Purushas. So they are also Sat. And another meaning of Sat is Sadhu Bhava, a bhava or an emotion or thinking pattern known as devotion. So Sat means Bhagavan Sri Dharma Shastra. Sat means all the Swamis that are Ayyappa Bhaktas. And lastly, Sat means devotion or bhakti. So that is the meaning of Sat. We see that meaning in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 17th chapter, the 26th verse. Sat bhave sadhu bhave cha sadityetat prayujyate. The prayoga, the usage of Sat, Bhagavan says, are in three meanings. That is what we said. Sat bhavam, Paramatma bhavam, and Sadhu bhavam. In these three sense, Krishna says in the Gita that the word Sat is used. And Bhagavan also he continues to give some few more meanings for Sat. If you see the 26th and 27th verse of Gita, you will know the meaning of that Sat. So why do you have to have this satsangam. Bhartrihari, he says in one of his Subhashitas, Ganga papam shashi tapam dainyam kalpatarusthatha papam tapam cha dainyam cha granti sadhu samagamaha. Sadhu samagamaha or satsangam, it is like Ganga, Shashi and Kalpavriksha. The holy river Ganga, it can wash away your sins, just like Pampa. And Shashi or the moon, it can remove tapam or heat, affliction caused by the heat. And similarly, the Kalpavriksha or Kalpataru, the wish-fulfilling tree, it removes poverty, dejection, because it is capable of giving you whatever you want. So that's why the Ganga, the moon, and the Kalpataru, the wish-fulfilling tree, is capable of solving only one problem. The magnanimous saints, the Sadhu Samagamaha, they can destroy all these problems. That is why Satsanga is very important. So, Satsanga means primarily the word Sat means Paramatma or Bhagavan. And who is Paramatma? How is he manifest in this Kali Yuga? Paramatma has manifested as Kali Yuga Varadan, Sri Veeraperumal, Sri Dharmashasta in Shabirigiri. That's what they say. Kausalya Seet Prathama Janani Devaki Chadvitiya Vishnoramba Tadanu Mahita Pantalamba Tritiya Yastretayam Raghupatirabhut Dwapare Shaurirasit Kshonim Tratum Sajayati Kalo Veerashasta. It means that Paramatma who was born to Kaushalya in Treta Yuga, who was born to Devaki in Dwapara Yuga, the same Paramatma was born to Pantalamba, was the son of Pantalamba, the queen of Pantalam in Kali Yuga, in order to protect the world from calamities. And the greatness of this avatara of Parameshwara is that as Ayyappa, he was accessible to all without any bheda, any distinctions whatsoever. All divisions, social, communal, caste, economical, etc. does not stop anyone if he devotes himself and surrenders with Sharanam to Sri Ayyappa. So where do we start? How do we approach Ayyappa? We have to approach him by knowing more about him. Just as you know about Rama by reading Ramayana or by reading Rama Gita, which occurs in Adhyatma Ramayana. And just as you know more about Krishna by reading Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, which is a part of Mahabharata, you can know and approach Ayyappa, Dharmashasta, by Bhutanatha Upakhyanam or by reading Bhutanatha Gita, which is a part of Brahmanda Purana. So we will start this journey of knowing Ayyappa with Sri Bhutanatha Gita that occurs in Bhutanatha Upakhyanam, which is a part of Brahmanda Purana. So Bhutanatha Gita is a dialogue between the Pandyan king Rajashekhara Pandya and Sri Dharmashasta, Swami Ayyappan. The king was seeking instruction, teaching, upadesha, in order to gain moksha or freedom or immortality from his Ishta Devata, who was Shabarimala Sri Dharmashasta. So the story goes like this. Once the Pandyan king by the name Rajashekhara, who was a great devotee of Dharmashastra, he conducted prayers for begetting a progeny, for getting a child. Sri Dharmashastra, who was the Aradhya Murti and Ishta Devata of the king, he appeared before him and blessed him. Rajashekhara was the king of the Pandalam province. That was an offshoot of the Pandyan kingdom. The etymology of the word Pandalam is that it came from Pandi Idam, meaning the realm of Pandi, the province of Pandi. And the letters Da and La are interchangeable in Sanskrit due to a rule in Vyakarana. That rule is called Dalayor Abhedaha, meaning La can be used instead of Da. And the Malayalam language, it follows Sanskrit closely in grammar and follows Tamil closely in vocabulary. So Pandi Idam becomes Pandi Ilam, and that eventually becomes Pandalam. So Sri Dharmashastra was very pleased by this Pandala Maharaja's prayers, and he appeared himself as the son of this king Rajashekhara Pandya, and he was named Ayyappa. And before the end of his avatara, Ayyappa gives this Vishwarupa Darshanam, the vision of cosmic form, to the king in Shabarimala. And as requested by the king, he taught him the essence of Vedic teaching, which came to be known as this Bhutanatha Gita. And it is a Tattva Darshanam, or a treatise exploring the nature of Tattvam, the nature of reality of this world, of the individual soul, and of God, of Bhagavan. Now you may wonder why this king Rajashekhara was interested in moksha, or freedom from want, freedom from desire, that is moksha. To understand this, you have to know the story of Vishwamitra, who was the king, the Rajarshi who eventually became a sage. So once Vishwamitra was on a Mrigaya, a hunting expedition, and he was followed by his retinue, his Sena. And this sage Vasishtha, a Brahma Rishi, a Rishi who has known Brahman, was sitting under a tree, and he was doing upasana, meditating on the Atma Swarupam. And then this Vishwamitra comes and he looks at this sage with arrogance and says, "Hey Maharshi, I'm a king. I can give you anything you want. Make a wish." And Vasishtha says, "O king, welcome to my hermitage. I would like to invite you and your retinue to my ashram. Let me finish my prayers. In the meanwhile, my disciples, they will offer you hospitality." Vishwamitra was very agitated. "How dare you say, your people will take care of me? I don't care for your hospitality." And then Vasishtha, who was unflustered, he replied, "Okay then, that is fine. May Ishvara shower his grace upon you." And then he continued with his meditation. Vishwamitra was enraged and he started abusing Vasishtha. "You are no sage. You are a fraud." And Vasishtha says, "All right, then you may please leave so that I can continue with my prayers. Go your way, leave me alone." Then Vishwamitra was hit with this peace that was illuminating in this face of Vasishtha as Brahma Tejas. And that peace Vishwamitra could not disturb. And being a very intelligent man, Vishwamitra started to ponder. He started to wonder, what is that this Vasishtha has, that he is so composed, so peaceful, that I don't have, even after conquering various territories, even after amassing so much wealth. It all seems to be in vain before Vasishtha's radiating peace. I have so much power, the armies, they are under my command, but still Vasishtha appears to be superior to me. He's very equanimous. This person looks so much at ease with himself and others. What is it that he has which I don't have? And that was the question Vishwamitra starts posing to himself. Then one of the ministers, sensing Vishwamitra's doubt, and he's very well versed, this minister is very well versed in the Vedic wisdom, and he tells Vishwamitra, "O king, this Vasishtha has that inner peace." Okay, how did he realize that? No, I want to realize it. And then Vishwamitra was advised to do penance, and he does tapas, and he realizes that Shanti, this inner peace. And he also gifted the world with the Gayatri Vidya, otherwise known as Brahma Vidya, which is the essence of the meaning of Pranava or Omkara. So this inquiry into everlasting peace, into immortality, was a very common thing among kings, among poor, among rich, among sages. It was a very common thing in the Hindu culture. In our Hindu civilization, any system of philosophy is known by the name Darshanam. The word Darshanam literally means a doctrine. It is taught by the propounder or the teacher of that darshanam, of that philosophy, a particular thinker or a particular sage who has started that. And the one who gives out this darshanam is called a darshanikaha. He is also a sampradaya pravartaka, the expounder of that tradition. Since there are followers who accept that teaching and follow that particular doctrine. So this Bhutanada Gita, it follows the same method, the same pattern. And these are the topics that are going to be handled here. They are the Jiva Lakshanam, the definition of the individual, the Jiva. The Jagat Lakshanam, the definition of the world. Bhagavat Lakshanam, the definition of God, Bhagavan. Even an atheistic philosopher like Sri Buddha, even the Buddhist, they will have to explore the nature of God. And they have to establish that there is no need for the existence of God. So Shunyam, non-existence or void, will be the definition of Tattvam in their system. Shunyam is their reality. That means the definition of Bhagavan has to be examined even by atheists before negating, in order to prove that there is no God. The other topics that are handled in the Bhutanada Gita is karma, bhakti, and jnana or moksha. The karma lakshanam, the definition of human bondage, the human problem, the human suffering, which includes the cause of this samsara, which is karma bandha. The very first verse he tackles that. Bhagavan says that. And then moksha lakshanam, the definition of freedom, of liberation, which includes the cause, whether the liberation is here and now, Moksham eppol kittum, ippol, ivide, here and now, or whether it is necessary to go to a heaven later, that is discussed in this Gita. And then Bhakti Lakshanam, devotion as a discipline, that is defined as to how this individual, this devotee, should follow the path of bhakti to go from karma bandha to moksha. So the sadhana, the means, the process which takes an individual to moksha is explained. So these are briefly the topics that are handled in this text. Now let us look at this first verse of Sri Buddhanatha Gita. It starts with Bhagavan Shasta speaking to Rajashekara Pandya. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Janma Mritvadi Dukkhanam Nashaya cha Mahipate Karmanam Nashanam Mukhyam Tadupayam Nishamyatam. That is a verse. Janma Mrityu Adi Dukkhanam Nasanaya Mahipate Karmanam Nasanam Mukhyam Tat Upayam Nishamyatam. That is the Padacheda. The meaning is, Dukkhanam, in order to overcome the sufferings of Janma Mrityu Adi, caused by Janma, birth, Mrityu, death, which are the cause of our Dukkham, our suffering. Hey Mahipate, O King, the main cause is Karmanasha, or destruction of past misdeeds, past karmas. May you listen, Nishamyatam, the upayam, the means to remove these sufferings. So that is the first verse. So Bhagavan Dharmashastra opens the Gita, the verse, pointing out that Janma is Dukkham. It's a form of suffering. What is Janma? Janma is accepting a body. Then Bhagavan Sri Dharmashastra also had assumed the avatar of Sri Ayyappan. Is it suffering for him? What is the difference between our Janma and the Janma of an avatar like Ayyappa? So this is the difference. When a body is taken consciously, out of full knowledge, out of benevolence, out of karuna, that is called an avataram. But when you are born unconscious, crying because of your karma, then it is called as Janma. The conscious, deliberate acceptance of a body is avataram. The karma-based, inadvertent assumption of body is Janmam. So Sri Dharmashastra decided to take the avatar of Ayyappa. And Bhagavan's Janma is very different from that of us, the individual jivas. The individual's flight is brought out very well by Acharya Shankara by saying this. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam. Again and again we are born, and again one dies. And again one sleeps in the mother's womb. In this limitless sea of life, it seems to be uncrossable. So Bhagavan also takes Janma. If he does it in the same way like us, he will be no different from us. Therefore, Bhagavan takes Janma consciously, out of compassion, and not out of ignorance, not out of karma bandha. We have karma on our side, and Bhagavan has karuna on his side. And that karuna is ahayituki. There is no hetu. There is no cause. There is no karanam for his compassion. His mercy, his karuna is as natural as the fragrance of the flower. The flower is fragrant for no reason. And Bhagavan is known as Shasta, the controller of all the jivas and all the bhutas, all the devatas. So the definition of Bhagavan is to be understood properly. He is Ajaha, Avyayaha, Bhutanam, Ishwaraha, Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhavaha. That is the definition. Bhagavan is aware that he is Ajaha, he is birthless. Ajaha means there is no ja, meaning Janma Rahitaha, one who does not have a birth. And Avyayaha means Marana Rahitaha, he does not have death either. And Bhutanam Ishwaraha means he is the master of all bhutas, all beings. So Bhagavan takes this birth, but he is not under the control of anyone, including the devatas. Therefore, devatanam api Ishwaraha Shasta. He is the controller of even devatas. And he is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhavaha. Nitya means he is Satya, that which cannot be negated in the three kalas. He was there, he is here, and he will be there. So he is Satya, the ultimate reality. Then he is pure, he is Shuddha, meaning he is not contaminated by ignorance. Why? Because he is Buddha, meaning he is Chaitanya Swarupa. He is all awareness. And he is also Mukta. He is Swatantra. He is free. He is Bandha Rahita. He does not have any shackles like karma binding him. So he is Satya, he is Janma Rahita, and he is Chaitanya Rupa, ever free. And he is also the cause of this universe, this Jagat. He is Akhilanda Kodi Brahmanda Adisha. Bhagavan is the creator of the Brahmanda, this universe with all its galaxies. And why does he do that? What is the reason behind this Srishti, behind this creation? Bhagavan does this Srishti, this creation, for the sake of our karma nasha. Karma nasha requires Bhagavan's creation. That is why in the verse, in the second half, Bhagavan says, Karma nasharam mukhyam. The main thing is the eradication of exhaustion of our karma. That is the purpose. That is the priority of Bhagavan. He being Karuna Murtihi, he cannot see our dukkham, our suffering. Therefore, he implores King Rajashekara, Tad upayam nishamyatam. Upayam means the way, the sadhanam, the means to remove these sufferings in the form of our janma. So in the case of Bhagavan, we say that his janma is not for karmanasha. When we say our janma, our birth, it is for the sake of exhausting this karma bandha. Then you may wonder, where did this karma come from? What is the source of this karma? The answer is Dhada Yatha Purvama Kalpayat. It came from Purvam, from a previous Srishti, the preceding creation. And what was the need of a previous creation, previous Srishti? For the sake of Karmanasha, for the resolution of the karmas of jivas. Then how did the karma come? Because of the previous Srishti. So we shall never know about the first creation. Why? Because creation is anadi. It is beginningless. It's an eternal process. And in the case of Bhagavan, we can say that his janma is not for karmanasha, for his karmanasha, because he is already mukta and he doesn't have to resolve any karma bandha because he does not have any karma. So karmanasha is also not required for him. Then why should he come when he doesn't require both of them? Anugrahaya bhutanam. He comes for anugraha, means blessing, and bhuta means us living beings. And Bhagavan does this double anugraha. One is secondary and another one is primary. The secondary anugraha is sadhu rakshanam and dushta shikshanam, protecting the good people and destroying dushtis like Mahishi and other dushtas, asuras. That is the secondary purpose, benefit of Bhagavan's anugraham. Why it is called secondary benefit, this dushta shikshanam? Because that can only bless that generation when Bhagavan is born. Therefore, the Asura Samhara can bless only the current avatara, current period in which that avatara exists. Whereas the real purpose of Dharma Shastra is to teach the Shastra. That is why he is called Shasta. That is why he teaches this Gita, this Bhutanada Gita. As in the Treta Yuga, Rama taught the Tattvam, the nature of reality, to Lakshmana through Rama Gita in the Adhyatma Ramayanam. In the Dwapara Yuga, Sri Krishna taught Tattvam, the nature of reality, to Arjuna through Bhagavad Gita. And in Kali Yuga, Sri Dharmashastra, Sri Ayyappan, he taught this Bhutanada Gita to this Pandya king. So this Gita teaching helps not only in Treta Yuga, not only in Dwapara Yuga, but also in Kali Yuga. Therefore, that is a primary purpose, primary anugraha of Bhagavan, of Sri Dharma Shastra in his avatara as Ayyappa, which is to teach this Bhutanada Gita to this Pandya king, Rajashekara. Swasti prajabhyah paripalayantam न्यायेन मार्गेण महिं महिषा गो ब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् स्वामी शरणमय्यप्प।